your friendly neighborhood farmer, Free Range Kara, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that I know definitely happens, but it feels like I'm the only one who's had this experience where I'm currently existing, and that is Farm Safety Day at school. I grew up in a very rural area where 90% of the people lived on farms. And so every year they would take the youngins, like grades K through 6 or maybe K through 8, take them somewhere. I never remembered where. We got a little sack lunch, it was great. There was always potato chips. And they'd take us out to this farm and they'd teach us about farm safety. A lot of like really common things like, oh, you know, here's what all these different symbols mean, like here's a slow moving sign, here's a no additional riders sign, here's a careful there's sharp objects sign. But like two main things have always stuck in my head from those days because they had demonstrations with them. One of them was the grain silo, which has two major concerns if you didn't know. One of them being if you crawl into a grain silo and you like are sitting on top of all the grain and you start moving, you will start sinking. It's like quicksand. But unlike quicksand, it won't stop when it's halfway because like there's buoyancy and you stop sinking. With grain, you will go all the way to the bottom and you'll suffocate. And there's like literally, unless someone can dig you out, there's no way for you to get yourself out. And you know, as a second grader, that's very terrifying to think about. Another common occurrence with grain silos, well I won't say common, but like the fact that it can happen and that it's happened before is terrifying. And that is that if the air in the grain silo is too dry or if the environment is too dry, it can just spontaneously combust. So you could be sitting in there minding your own business, enjoying a hot summer day, and you explode. Because the grain is just like, I'm a little too dry. The air is a little too dry. Let me just light on fire and blow up. Like, who decided that was the thing? Why do you do that? On a side note, the same thing also happens with wet hay. If you try to bale with wet hay, it'll spontaneously combust. Sometimes. You never know when, but it'll happen. It's just like, why? Why do things have to spontaneously combust? Back to what I was talking about with Farm Safety Day, the other thing that really stuck in my mind as a young child was a demonstration with the power takeoff, or we call it the PTO, on farm equipment. It's one of the areas where you know, like how you have like a hitch on your pickup and you attach the trailer to it there? Well, with tractors, there's a spinning component to that called the power takeoff. And they, you know, advise us like, hey, don't stand near these things because if a piece of your fabric or if your hand gets snagged on it, it'll like pull you in and you'll die. And so what they did was they had this demonstration where they had this balloon person, they tied a piece of twine around his waist and they tied the other end of the twine onto the PTO and they said, okay kids, the second you see the balloon man touch the PTO, you yell at that farmer to stop. And so yeah, we waited for this long piece of twine to unravel and to roll up all around this PTO, and the second he hit the PTO, we all start yelling, stop, stop, stop! And it takes the farmer a couple seconds to hear us because tractors are bleep loud. They're so loud. I mean, I shouldn't say bleep. Tractors are so loud, and the farmer couldn't hear you. And finally he gets it stopped. And like, granted, like 3 of the 5 balloons of this balloon man have popped. And there's like, the head is left and like an arm. And so that, you know, terrifying. I use the word terrifying a lot in this video, but like, it's like an episode of Scared Straight. Like, you're not gonna do that. Because you just watch Balloon Man meet his untimely demise. Like, he could have lived on to do Balloon Man things, like graduate from balloon college and have a balloon family. But no, he tied a piece of twine around his waist and tied it to a PTO. Was like, I'll be fine. He wasn't fine. He wasn't. And so yeah, Farm Safety Day was definitely a thing that is etched into my memory, and I have never gone near a power takeoff or sat in a grain silo because of that. Like, I've been in a grain silo, but it wasn't like full of grain. We were trying to get we were doing pest control because, you know what else loves grain? Mice. And so we did a lot of, you know, control with that. But that's what I learned on Farm Safety Day. I swear to God, we went to it every year for like 6 years. I've never watched so many balloons pop in my entire life. But that's what I've got for today's video. If you guys liked it, please let me know and I can do some more kind of farm related stuff. Otherwise, let me know what else you'd like to hear me talk about, and we can bring it up in some upcoming videos. Alrighty, bye-bye!